Okay, here we are in the RHOlang peer learning group, and I'm going to look at a few contracts that I've been working on. One of them is, I don't want to share the source code on that because it has a lot of personal information in it. But I could just show it on screen. Okay, you're seeing my Discord now?
Yeah.
Okay. Hope there's nothing. Okay. Anyway, that was a genealogy program, and I'm sorry I've closed it, but that's what let me just go ahead and show you what I came here to talk about today. Here we are in Discord, and we're on the CoLab server, and we can be in any channel, and you can go up here and search on Discord. You can search for the Show Me contract. If you'll notice, I think it's in reverse order historically. Here's one that's a long discussion. It's a long quote of the let construction and the way it's related to the lambda construction. And notice how I entered it in the channel. I said, good discussion about lets and lambdas. And then I said, how are lets and lambdas related? And then I pasted this contract in the channel, the Show Me contract. And what this contract does is the next time someone puts something on the Show Me channel, and it will be an item, it'll be an item, a channel name, and a return. And if the item is has the word lets and lambdas in it, and it has RHOlang in it, it will return this quote that goes into the discussion of what a let is, and down here it talks about how lets and lambdas are related. I thought this was very interesting to what's going on with us. But that one's a little more complicated. Let's go down to another one here.
Is that the end of the, okay. I was actually looking for the end of that, of the code.
Okay. I'm sorry, David, I didn't quite understand your question, but notice if I've gone to another one, and the question I asked in the channel was, what is a DAP? Now, then I pasted in the channel a contract called Show Me that will match on the string, what is a DAP? Oh, I'm sorry, and it will match on a string, what is the DAP, and in the RHOlang channel, okay? And then it will return this definition of a DAP, which I found out on the web. It's from the Ethereum Stack Exchange on January 22nd, 2016. And it reads, a DAP is an abbreviated form, so on and so forth. Let's jump over to that. Now, notice in the channel, I put this in the test priv channel, and if you're not familiar with that channel, that's where we do a lot of experimentation with RHOlang and with the REPL. And so I pasted it in there, and I used the proper syntax for, enclosing it as a code block.
From what I know about.
Could you repeat that?
Yes, I was saying, concerning matching, I was thinking matching is used when you have more than one options or more than one sets of information.
That's a good observation, David. And let me tell you what I'm doing with this. All I'm doing every time you see another one of these pasted out there is I'm saying, oh, here is another automated response that I want to see in the RHOlang channel when someone says, what is a DAP? I want Robot to print that string. ADAP is abbreviated form for a decentralized application. I want them to print that in the channel. And as it stands right now, if I call that routine and the return channel was standard out, we would see that string printed in the channel. Does that make sense?
Okay, so you deployed every one of the show me contracts?
That's right. But ultimately, I'll probably go down here to one of these. If you look at a few of them, you'll see there are multiple matches in them. But eventually, I will have, it'll all be just one match contract. But see, now this is my vision of the way methods get added to contracts. You just add another match item to it, or you just modify an existing match item. And see, here's one that has 1, 2, 3, 4 different match patterns on it.
Yeah, I think I'm familiar with this one.
Yes. But, you know, there's not a lot to these things other than this is a way to actually put RHOlang to use. I mean, almost, we can almost make RHOlang useful to us right now by using these things like show me contract in the channels and then letting Robot deal with the REPL, or the RHOlang the interpreter, and so on. But, and see, that's what I'm thinking about here. If you go over onto the social ledger, see what I love about the social ledger over here in the RHOlang channel. I keep, there's a sample of one of my contracts there. That's called link bots. That's one of the first one that I did. And notice how cool those that matching nest there. You see, but that's just the start. You can add anything else within that table. See, this thing is a way to address a potentially unlimited table grid, in by in grid, as a matter of fact. But anyway, what I wanted to show you over here on the social ledger is when I need a link, if I go into a channel, I know that either I or someone will have added all the links necessary for me to use this channel efficiently. And so in the RHOlang channel, I would like to have things like this picture book of secure cooperation and RHOlang contracts by Stay and Shakima and so on and so forth. So there's a lot more of this right here in the channel. This is where I'm going with these show me contracts. Does that make sense to everybody? Anybody have any questions about that?
Yeah, I have. Go ahead. I guess, I have a question on, how we could maintain these, I guess what I'm thinking is how can we maintain these things dynamically, like adding things to the contract, changing the contract, and I guess that one way is we can register the contract, and we can replace the registered contract with a more complicated one. But it also seems to me that we should be able to have it have these conditions on a channel or something, and have
Yeah, this is Glenn. I wonder if a map or a set would help us.
Yeah, definitely, and maybe you could help us with that. But while we're on this, I just wanted to take screen share for now. I've copied one of these examples, and I'm going to post it into the test channel here. And we evaluate it here, and I guess we don't get any output from it.
No, you'll have to call it, and a call to it is just, you know, putting the properly formatted
So
strings.
I do a show me,
Yeah,
and then I do a bang.
yeah,
Right to the show me contract.
right. And you want, say for instance, you put channel document and then RHOlang space, some lowercase d, or it won't get it.
Oops.
But you know, we can use any kind of pattern matching we want. Right now, I'm just trying to illustrate the power of RHOlang.
So is there any concept, I know this is old school, but of enums or reading a file for a list of, I mean, just something so, because this causes the contract, every time you have to make a change, the contract will have to be redeployed or updated, as opposed to having some kind of runtime variables or even an enumeration. I don't know, are there any concepts like that in RHOlang?
I believe for now, there are none. You have to update the contract, which means you have to redeploy and propose.
Yeah.
So it is kind of interesting. So if you look at, let me paste. I've started using Joshy's cheat sheet. Let me paste that in.
Yes.
And I hope that gets broader awareness. So it's an interesting question. Like, if you have, if you're listening on the same channel, if you have many processes listening on the same channel for a match, how that compares in terms of performance of just using a map, I don't know. But in other words, do I have it right that you're deploying the show me contract like many times? And so we have many instances of 4 constantly listening. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that now. We're going to have to start registering names.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm just trying to get the idea across.
Right. Although that brings up a point of, it seems like an interesting thing to try is how does, let's say, you know, I don't know, perhaps the thousands of 4 comprehensions listening on a specific pattern match, which is this key that you have, compare with matching on a map. That would be kind of an interesting experiment.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I definitely want to go
Yeah,
there.
it does.
Learn how to do that.
Well,
I just want people to eyeball this call of this contract to see if I got this right. Okay, I'm doing an eval.
Why do you have 4 the Jim?
For return in. Okay, standard
My point is, why do you have the 4?
Yeah, you don't
Yeah, you don't need the
you don't
4
need the
whenever
4
you're doing
there.
that, unless you're listening on that channel.
You want new, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you need curly brackets after the after
Well,
the in.
Equal sign, then curly brackets,
Okay.
And
and
let's,
the equal sign.
yeah. But
I don't think an equal sign is needed here. Equal sign is used when you're writing the contract.
Right.
yeah, and I think they're working on losing that equals after the definition of the contract.
Yeah.
Okay, so this looks good. Does everybody understand this statement of?
Yeah, I think your usage of return is a little bit. I've almost always seen that as STD out. As the name.
I use,
Yeah,
I use-
several
I
several
use-
have commented that that's confusing.
It is, because oftentimes it's a pattern where when we make when we send on a channel, we'll also send a return channel, and so
Yeah,
you're mixing some common patterns there.
Gotcha. And that's a temptation to use the name for a name is like, that's, you know, I've learned not to do that.
I no, even using result there, I think, is not correct. It should be STD out. I mean, it can be anything you want, but the convention is to keep it tied to what that formal name of RHOIO:STD out is. When you use result like this, you're conflating a usage of sending a return channel or a result channel. I mean, I don't want to harp on your names, but you do it how you like. But you are.
You know, I believe.
I mean, I'm used to getting a result from a function call. And
Yeah, and that was why I went with return originally, because it made things feel like functions when I did that.
But it's a good point that, you know, this early on, if we adopt these kind of patterns.
Right, but yeah. See, the thing is that internally, because you're mapping it to this RHO:*standard out, the internals of RChain is actually listening on that channel and is going to pick up anything sent on it and display it to the screen. So you're by using this syntax of the quote RHO:*IO:STD out. When you use that, you're telling RHOlang that you specifically want to bind the STD out, or whatever the thing after the new there. You want to bind that to this officially named capability, this officially named channel.
Yeah.
That's different than when we use a return channel. When we use a return channel, it's you want to say it's ours as the application programmer. It's something that it's not bound to a system level capability. So
yeah, so it's a naming convention that we should follow.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But also functionality is different. When you use that syntax that you have there after eval, that is a specific. That's telling RChain that we specifically want to communicate on this formal channel that's formally recognized.
But it's just.
You're saying the RChain, well, it's not an RChain VM, but the platform is more efficient in evaluating the call?
Not more efficient.
It's just clearer in the program where I have figured out down here. That
I think Glenn's saying something else, though. I think he's saying.
No. What I'm saying is that right now there's a very limited set of these well-known names. I'm not sure what the right term is for them. I think well-known name works. And when we use a return channel, that is not a well-known name. It's an unforgeable name that we've created to handle the return from another channel, right.
Yeah.
So anyway, I won't harp on it more, but just over time, I think that'll become more clear.
Right, but the function is exactly the same if I call it out or standard out.
In your usage here, yes, that's absolutely true.
Okay, so there's no performance difference.
No, nothing to do with performance.
Gotcha. Okay.
And something was wrong here because it didn't work.
What was that UI you were in, by the way? What is that?
It's Discord. No.
Could that previous call still be kind of evaluating?
It could be.
Yes, it could be.
Let's look at the.
Yeah, that's been something that I've had to learn, that there's some uncertainties about programming at this level, at this stage of progress in the compiler.
I'm new to this. I don't mean to ask too many newbie questions, but are you programming in Discord?
Yeah, they have like a rnode eval server hooked up to the Discord, like a robot.
Against like testnet or something?
Yeah.
Well, it's actually trying to run our own shard. We have we made a new shard on Saturday with David, Dan, and Joshi.
Okay.
And
So, real quick, sorry to interrupt.
We're getting error.
David, you're breaking up.
It's
Looks like it's dead.
Real quick, can someone just describe to me, or maybe point me in the direction of matching? Because I'm trying to like toy around with learning matching a little bit more in terms of like, if someone sends 1, 2, 3, 4, it matches that process against it, and it returns either bool or nil.
Well, if you look at Joshi's cheat sheet, you'll notice that that's the only section that's still blank. And I think we're waiting on a document concerning matching. And I don't know that there much exists about it in writing yet.
Because I know that they have it on the dev site, on the RChain dev site, or on the RChain GitHub for the devs, and they also have it. I think Mike Stay written about it, but it's not. It's like all these like long, complex matching. It's not actually simple. Hey, match this list with that list and return either bool or nil. That's the only issue, and that's what I'm trying to figure out now.
There is a section on matching in the cheat sheet on patterns.
Oh, there is? Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah, I put the link in the chat here. Just look under patterns, you'll see it.
Okay, so we're having problems with the
REPL?
on robot.net for our shard. It's getting errors. So I'm looking at so we can test. We can use CryptoFX for further testing, but I think we get the idea of how that would play out. If I just wanted to go through the how we would actually run that contract. And thank you for your comments, everyone. You want to show us something, Glenn?
I wasn't really prepared to show anything. Yeah, I've just, I've had lots of designs in my head, but I've just started, I've just started to code. And so I've been using CryptoFX. Is anyone using CryptoFX?
Yeah, that's that
Yeah,
would be, yeah.
I've just been deploying on the node.
Yeah. So right now there isn't too much more to CryptoFX than it has an editor which has syntax highlighting, and it has a just a nice click buttons for running or for evaluating. When you run CryptoFX, it runs its own node, and I've been talking a little bit with the developers of that. I'm not exactly sure what version of our node they're running, and but it's pretty easy to point the CryptoFX UI to your own instance, like a standalone instance, or just give it a host and a port, and it'll connect to another R node instance. So that's the way I've done it. I can run whatever version of R node that I want, and then point the CryptoFX UI to my standalone instance.
That's pretty cool.
It's nice, and it actually runs considerably faster than the one that was internal. At least I've found. So
Because they have like a built-in interpreter, right, in the product.
yeah, and so yeah, you've got it right there. Whoever's showing that on the screen, that's awesome. It is just a simple JSON file, and you just put that in the root of your current folder, and based on what's being browsed in the file navigator, and it'll show you those. So right now your CryptoFX-IDE is your folder, and so this CryptoFX.json file, exactly, you just change those. Oh, one important point, if you do this, see if I can find it.
Oh, guys, when you get the chance, check your Discord. That's like the latest I have on pattern matching in the CoLab RHOlang channel.
yeah, what channel, Jeremy?
You're breaking up what?
I was asking what. Okay, don't worry. What channel?
On the CoLab, on the RHOlang channel.
Oh, okay, okay.
I was just going to add, I'll paste this in the chat. Use the gpc-port-internal to tell your R node that you're running what port to listen to that the CryptoFX editor will talk to. I don't exactly know how these different ports and hosts map to what functionality, but I found that you have to use gRPC port internal to set the port number.
Okay. Well, I I just have here.
Yeah. So
Internal URL. I have localhost 404. I didn't change that.
yes. So that's fine. For some reason I found that the only way to get it actually talking to a R node that you are running on your local host is to set this internal port.
I see. I'm not talking to my own R node. I'm talking to something else.
I really don't know, but in my testing, I found that I had to use when I ran R node from when I started the node, there's a switch or command line option for --grpc -port-internal, which I just pasted in the chat. And that was the setting I had to use to make these two line up. So I chose 40408. So that's what's in my JSON file that you're looking at right now. And that corresponds with the same value I used when I started the node. I don't know why. It's just what I found through messing around.
Okay. So I'm trying to figure out who I'm talking to here. You're saying I'm not.
So if you go to your hello-world.rho, that's another thing. When you go to your hello-world.rho, I'm sorry, that's right in your UI, just to the right of, some more. Yeah, there you go. That's fine. So over on the far right of the CryptoFX screen, you've got a run and deploy
Right.
tab. My understanding is the run tab is going to use the internal interpreter, and then you've got two buttons, eval and deploy. Well, 3 and propose. Eval uses the internal URI. That maps to, yes, right. So if you go back to your JSON file, it's on the tab right above. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you'll see where it says internal URI for, yeah. So it's going to use that one. If you did deploy, it would be the external one.
Okay, let's see. I'm running, I guess that would be my other window, huh? So this is running.
Yeah, what I found weird too is that where it says here, where is the line? Connecting to our node at the very bottom. No, I'm sorry. At startup, there's a section on the gRPC listening on such a port.
There's no gRPC.
Yeah, sorry, it's not.
I think I did a set ignore case. We'll just do it again. gRPC. Ah, we got it now.
What I found is that this port isn't the same one. I don't know why.
Failed to connect. Timeout. I don't know what this is running, but I can, why don't I just put this and do I have a, what do I have running here? I don't know where that other one is. Right here. I can just do a, am I not running our node? I think I'm running it.
What are you trying to do?
I was trying to just stop our node and run it single in standalone mode.
Oh, I think it's, I have that command somewhere. Did you do the, yeah, that?
Well,
No, stop. Hold on, I got it. Let me bring up my cheat sheet.
I don't know if the stop will work here.
What the hell is this?
This will give me all my Java. Okay, so I don't have our node running at all. So I should be able to just, what are you suggesting I do here just to run our node? Myself here. Our node.
Yeah. Run or
Standalone.
Before the run. Yeah, dash for standalone. Before the run, it's --grpc -port -internal. Dash is not equal sign.
Oh,
Little typo. Yep. And then the value for that switch should be, I don't know, I used 40408 just for the fun of it. Just something I hadn't seen before. Yep. And then I usually tell it my data too, but
If you're using, Jim, if you're using 40408, you're actually changing the default gRPC port.
well, this is the parameter I found that works with the crypteffects. So if you go back to crypteffects,
yeah, I didn't have to do that before. I have this working fine with the
so it changed the one above, yep, to 8.
What? Change this to 8.
Yep. And once your node is running, seems like it's probably running. Yep. Then go.
I probably need to remove my.
So I always give it a new data dir personally. I don't know if you do that.
Yeah, no, well, what it looks like because of my .r node file, the .r node, it didn't start up.
Oh.
What? .r node. Okay, so I'm going to move that.
Which one of them are you trying not to lose? Jim, which?
I don't know if I need that any keys in there or anything, so I'm going to just save that, and then I'm going to restart our node, and I'm going to leave the data dir, the default .r node.
Sorry, guys.
Hopefully it'll start up.
I thought I was on mute. Sorry.
And I guess I'm going to change, since the robot.net isn't running properly right now, I'm going to change the robot.net to localhost :40408 as well. And Control S, let's save that.
You're missing an S.
Oops. Thank you. Save it. What? You got an error?
Oh, you didn't want to do that.
Edge.
Undo that.
So, is this correct now? Okay. And I guess this started. And now I go back to Hello World. And I do an eval of it now. Okay, I get a bunch of stuff. I guess I get the whole, I guess it gives me the whole tuple space. And,
Yeah, that looks good.
yeah, except I don't see the, I don't see, I couldn't see where it's Hello World.
That's output in the R node back behind the scenes.
Ah,
That's what I was getting at with.
Can I get a red green?
okay, so over here we got the
If you're not speaking, kindly mute your mic.
That's what I was getting at before, where you did the.
Rains right outside the door. How long? Like, oh man, it's parking here.
Yeah, perfect.
okay, so this is running its standalone. Now, I did do this before without changing the port number, so I'm not sure why we had.
Interesting. Well, I'm sorry if I'm misleading anyone. This is just from my experimentation. I found it didn't work unless I used that internal port number. There must be a default one of these. I guess I was just wanting to be absolutely sure that I made a change to a setting and that it really was that I knew I was talking to the one I was running, I guess. Anyway.
Right.
That's pretty cool. You can connect to the robot.
Hey, so another question real quick. Can someone explain to me what it in RHOlang when it like the mutable state, which is like the underscore? Is that like a free variable we can put in for like anything, or does that have like a specific purpose in the language?
Do you mean for a in a matching expression?
Not even in a matching, just like
Or
in general, where if I have like for underscore for like mutable state, you know,
Yeah.
something like that.
So the underscore means I don't care, don't bind it to anything. So it'll match anything, and there's no variable associated. It just says, so it doesn't bind it. Does that make sense?
Oh, wait, I think you just gave me an idea. I'm just going to try something out with this contract that I'm making.
You want to show us?
Oh, God, it's terrible. It is so terrible. But if everyone wants to, I can, I guess.
Are you
Yes, please show any contracts you have. And I'd also like to suggest that anybody who writes, anything the least bit interesting, don't hesitate to share it in either the robots channel or the test priv channel, because I've found that that's a real good way to learn is to watch what other people are doing.
So here's what I'm working on with the I'm just trying to make a simple banking ATM, right? So what I'm thinking about doing is for channel, obviously making mutable, send, how can I describe this in a easy way? So actually I would like to have, So I want to listen for the actual pin, right? So if the pin is 1, 2, 3, 4, it'll listen to it and it'll return the access, which creates another contract that returns the value that's in the account. Now, if what I believe for like immutable state to be right, then I will have, so like for instance here, so if I say for, let's just say at pin, I guess, and I have 4, so I almost have 2, oops, forgot something, in parallel. So, and this is kind of where I'm at right now, right? In terms of like matching. So I want the pin to match the 1, 2, 3, 4, but this is kind of where I'm stuck at here.
Well, so if
Are you
you
sure
wanted,
it's matching?
So this is almost like my workaround for pattern matching.
Okay, if I'm not mistaken, I believe what you want to do is you want there to be, you want the first contract to act as sort of a security, and then another contract that would give access after the security is complete, right? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're kind of breaking up though still.
Okay, what I was saying is, what I believe you want to do is, you want this first contract to act as security, right?
You're breaking up, but yes. If I think what you said is correct, as in you wanted to access as security, correct?
Yes, and you want the other one to act as the show value.
Correct.
Okay. So I don't really see where pattern matching comes in here.
So the reason why, so pattern match in terms of actually matching the keys together, right? So I wanted to be able to save on the shard, like, or privately, that is, like, all right, this user's pin is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's where I want to do the matching. If it doesn't, it clicks into the other message saying, or any other number besides 1, 2, 3, 4, it'll kick back nil. That's where I want a pattern matching, but for now, this might just have to be the workaround, I guess. But I'm just trying to figure it out, or the best way I can do this. And again, this whole thing is a mess, so.
I think I get your point now.
I don't quite understand why you're not using pattern matching and then doing a fall through with the wild card at the end.
Yeah, because that's the reason why I asked about pattern matching, is like I just don't know how. So I mean, maybe this is something we can all figure out together.
if you wanted the top 4 there to match 1, 2, 3, 4, then where you have the at pin is where you would put the 1, 2, 3, 4.
So I'll replace this, actually the pin name, and just call it 1, 2, 3, 4, or I'll verify it down here on the next line.
Well, so if you're sort of hard coding the pin, then you can put it in a match in the 4 expression, because that is a match in the 4 comprehension. So just for yeah, not an at 1, 2, 3, 4, just 1, 2, 3, 4. Pretty sure. I'm doing this from my head, so I'm not positive it will run. But and then this would be
oh, sorry.
And then this is the channel on which someone would send their pin. Was where your cursor is at, and
yeah, so it would be the bank 18, or would I have to create another channel? Or should there be another channel for it? Because I
I
already
see.
created the contract.
Are you thinking
list.
that at owner is really where the pin is going to be sent?
Yeah.
Okay, then at owner. I'm sorry. I haven't worked. I'm doing this from my head, so I'm not positive if your at signs and all the rest is right. But at least in general, you're saying, okay, when this contract gets called with a pin of 1, 2, 3, 4 on the owner channel, that this is what'll go execute. Now, I think it's kind of strange to hard code a pin. That would be an odd. If you're just doing it for,
I mean,
just for
this
fun.
is just like something for fun to experiment until I understand pattern matching and can be able to secure it, because I saw where Mike Stace tutorials, you can create hashes. So this is almost like a beginner
Sure.
like contract. And then I'm gonna try to see if I can up it from here to where you can actually do more complex algorithms with it, where
Sure.
it will match the keys that's in Mike Stace's tutorial.
Okay.
So again, this is like a beginner. You're just going to hard code it. This isn't anything serious. This is what we're going with.
Got it. So then you're I think that would match 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know about the at signs and the rest. If that I always have to play with those to get them right. And you have a syntax error there with nil, and then you also need a channel. If your goal is to just eat up any non 1, 2, 3, 4 pins sent over through this contract, then you would need the at owner in the bottom 4 as well. And your test down below says John Doe.
What I spend, or curious question, actually, I can change all this up. So at this part, and obviously I'll correct all this when the time's right, but at this part, do we want to obviously send the access to the contract so the contract accepts the access and then returns?
I'm not following what you're trying to do.
So, like for instance, once it verifies that the key is 1, 2, 3, 4,
Right.
I wanted to be able to send the access request, almost like the acknowledgement, into the new contract that verifies and that will return the actual value. It's like, all right, cool, John Doe, your value is $100 in your account.
Okay, to send back their so probably the return channel would be what that's for. So you would send on return. It's
So
up in your, so in your yeah, there you go, return. Bang.
Return, and I'll do send.
Parenthesis, yep, like 500 or something, yep.
So, well, no, for here, I want to return that as access. So I'll say,
Oh, okay, got it. Sure.
and
Yep.
So this will be, actually, it's like I'm missing something here.
I see. So you want to sort of give them a token of access that when they call bank value, they have this token that represents that they're valid. Is that what you're trying to do? I see. Well, it would be fairly easy to guess the string access granted, but still, is that what you were thinking?
I mean, this is only for tutorial and learning purposes, not for, like I said, anything serious.
Got it. Fair enough. Yeah, so I think you might you might think of then for this case to just go ahead and have the person send their PIN, which identifies them while they do the bank value. And you might call you might have the contract that people call, which is to get their balance, to be sort of the outer, that's what everybody would call, they would send their PIN on it. And then you would internally use a contract to internally to find out if that person's PIN is.
So this you almost like go in to like inside like a contract inside this contract.
Perhaps,
So almost
yeah.
like in there.
Yeah, I mean, again, you can do it any way you want because you're trying to just explore. But if what you were thinking is first the person would call a thing that verifies their PIN, and then they would get something back, and then they would send what they got back to get their bank value, that's certainly possible. But you're really just creating like an alternate PIN, in my opinion. So you may as well just send the PIN. I don't know if I'm making any sense to you.
Wait, just send a PIN to this, or
Yeah. So your bank value would take it's kind of the same signature of owner and return.
But technically, wouldn't I accept access?
Well, if it's access and you've hidden who it's become kind of a Boolean. Yes, they have access or not necessarily whose balance you're returning.
Okay, guys, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I just feel that isn't the best way to set up a security. If we want to do a kind of loose security now, a way we could do it is by using the if-else statement, where we say if the value is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, you grant access. If not, you return a false value.
Wait, can you do if else in RHOlang?
Yep.
Yes, you can.
Oh shit! All right, that's cool. All right, so I'll keep tinking around with that because now that I know I can do that, that will probably make this a lot easier. Because I was under the impression that we couldn't do that, so that's my B. All right, so I'm just going to keep tinking around with this, and hopefully by Thursday or maybe tomorrow I can have something a little bit cleaner and better to show everyone. But this, again, was just a simple contract I just wanted to type up. But, yeah.
Yeah, the way that I guess security was done in RChain, you might want to look at that. Basically, that was done with contracts inside the contract, and they did new names in there, which were unforgeable names that were returned to give access.
Is that on the GitHub?
Internal contract, yes.
All right, I'll look at that then.
I'm not sure exactly where it is. RChain maybe in Dan's repository or Joshy's.
It's Dan's repository. So let me see if I could search for the link and give it to you.
How long does this run?
This session, well, it runs for an hour, but typically we keep it open as long as people are interacting. If you have to go,
I have a question for Jeremy, if I could.
Sure.
Okay, I've got to share the screen. You mentioned before that there may be an implication to having a lot of of listeners on the same channel. So you're thinking if I use this keyword channel for too many different patterns, that I should expect some sort of performance degradation eventually?
Oh, I think I was talking about that. This is Glenn.
Ah, Glenn, okay.
No, I didn't. I don't mean to say that it would be. Well, so if you create many contracts with the same name, you're creating multiple processes listening on a single channel, which is not bad, but, well, it could be bad because it is bad because you don't know which one's going to win.
Right, it'll execute them randomly.
Yes, and I had you know, figured out that there were some things going on here with these that you know, once I get into the real world and we go live with RHOlang, things won't be happening the way they are now. And like I say, I had intended to like on the Show Me contract, I had intended to ultimately just have one contract with a whole bunch of different matches in there, and that's the case that I'm wondering, should I look for other design patterns rather than thinking that that's going to be a possible route to go?
Yeah, so can I share my screen?
Yes. I'll stop sharing.
Okay. I'm working on it. Why do I not see? Oh, here we go. Do you see my CryptFX?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. This was something I wanted to show, but to your question, so contract, sorry if my syntax isn't exactly right, X. This is the same as for, contract. Okay, these two are, this is equivalent. If I'm sorry if my syntax isn't exactly right, but what contract foo means is that on this foo channel, you're constantly listening, and whatever gets sent over it will be, you're expecting X.
And sorry, Glenn, just to cut you off. So the equal sign behind the lesson sign, so the arrow, that means constantly listen for on that channel. So for X, constantly listen for stuff on foo. And then the single line only means you're only listening once or only when it's being called.
That's exactly right. So so to get to your question about multiple contracts, if you had a pattern match where, let's say it's right, and another for
And I see your point about multiple contracts. I keep forgetting that contract is just a synonym for persistent for.
right. So this could actually be like that. Now you really aren't running into a problem. So then inside of here you've got, I don't know, forgive my shorthand here, but right? Probably not standard out, it's probably return or something, but just forgive that. But what I'm saying is what'll happen is that RHOlang's gonna do the figuring out as to whether this version of the contract or or this one. Does that make sense? In other words, if you call contract with the topic ABC, then this one's going to execute. If you call it with XYZ, this one's going to execute. So there, as long as you know that these are distinct and will not, there's no possible multiple matches, then you don't run into this problem of where RHOlang will actually, by design, intentionally run the contracts randomly. That's actually, we want that randomness.
Right, I follow you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that we want it, but I mean, we don't want to depend on a we don't want to depend on a hidden precedent order of execution when the language itself really isn't implying that. Like if the first one you defined in your file is the one that ran, we wouldn't want that. So, but what I was getting at as far as the performance thing is, I don't know how this compares with, with maps. I don't have a map. I think maps are like, right. So you could have a contract and I'm sorry, I'm not going to get the syntax right here, but match. I don't have that out. Oh, here's a matching a row. How does that work? Yeah, I don't know I don't know how to match on maps yet. But anyway, I guess of course you can match on a map or somehow figure out if X was sent on a map. Does that make? Am I making any sense?
Yeah. Can you run that just to show it operating? You know?
I think. Well, I can try. I don't know if it actually works, but.
Might just have to make a whole new row file for that.
Yeah, just make a new copy and paste it into a new file. Just the contracts. Just the 2 contracts.
Let me.
Or you can take the examples too. Why not?
So curious, while he's running that, so when you have the equal sign and the arrow, how would that look on the back end? Would it just be almost like a constantly looking like ping requests, essentially, or it'll just the channel itself will just be opened?
I believe they look exactly the same.
Gotcha.
Whether it's contract or a for. I don't have my standard out. Let's just say. You would make me do this, so I don't.
Sorry.
It's all right. No, it's no problem.
It would help people if they saw it.
Absolutely.
Actually, run.
I think you forgot the equal sign. Wait. So yeah, take out the equal sign for behind contract. So yeah, and then add it on the new faux end. But shouldn't you also have on the top? So where you see new faux end, just do like an equal sign?
I don't think there's supposed to be an equal sign there.
For the new, thought there would be.
one contract he has an equal and one contract he doesn't now. Oops.
Sorry, I'm trying to get my help. I can't click the tab that has the cheat sheet in it. Here we go. That'll do it. There's no contract in here? We probably want, oh, here we go. Yeah, it's right here. I thought that's what I had. New foo in. Oh, I don't want to do that.
Oh no, you technically have to issue out the row dot or colon IO standard out under the where the new foo in.
You've got it. You've got an equal sign on line 9, but not on line 2.
Yeah, but that's all commented out.
Oh, I see. Okay, sorry.
There's a bug in this CryptoFX editor for saving files, so I have to do that. Okay. So I do need the equals. Oh, and I'm missing a, okay guys, sorry about this. I'm not, I didn't grow up with pair programming where there's people watching over me program, so. Oh, come on.
I'm having similar problems on my end.
New foo in this. It's so slow with this thing too. Yay. Okay, so we have some success. Contract channel Y equals P. Okay. So contract foo X equals okay, so what we should see is here. So this guy right here should be our contract. So foo got changed to X, I'm sorry, X got changed to X0, and foo became this unforgeable name. So that would be the same as to say, so now we should see, here's, oh, that's interesting. I guess they're out of scope, so it's the same, so X0, so they're not the same X0, it's just they're out of scope, so it looks like they are, but they're really not the same variable, X and Y. Oh, wait a minute, this isn't, no, that's not correct.
What's wrong? I mean, it looks good to me.
No, this isn't correct. We should see, it should be the same unforgeable name. It's this one here is either the contract or the multiple listing, or it's this one. Because notice it's the exact same unforgeable name, which it should be. So this long GUID, or hash or whatever it is, should be the same. Yeah, FB108BB, so it's the same number. So these two foos are exactly the same. Okay, Gary, so does that get back to so if we were to actually send on foo, so let me just add, see if I can do this from memory. It's RHO:IO-STD out, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so if I go in here, we're not going to see STD out. Okay, never mind. Let's get rid of that. Let's do this and let's go. And here, and if we go here, I have to create a foo2. Sorry. Well, I don't know. Does clear the storage contents? Is that what clear means? Or clear the screen?
I think it just clears the screen.
All right, we'll create a foo2. And this doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, I'll do a few of them. Right, and so we've got some B's, some B's, some B, 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 A, right? So we see how many of these are there? There's 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10 of these. So half rough, 4 of them were B's and 6 of them were A's. So that's what we should expect. But if we said this was true, and this is, or I'm sorry, let me put another one. Let's just put 0, and this is 1. And then we change some of these to 1. Shoot, I need a foo 3.
If you're doing a new, you don't have to change that. You're doing a new, so it's going to be a different unforgeable name each time.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right. Thank you. Okay. I probably should change my A's and B's. Oh, so actually we've got to. Um, okay. So we see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 X's. Let's see how many ones we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, Gary, does this make sense? What I was getting at? So you're putting here. I'm using a 1, but this is just could well be a topic A versus topic B. And what I was getting at is I don't know how those matches would compare performance-wise, or I guess design-wise as well, versus maps to call map.get. It'd be an interesting thing to experiment with. And then
So
I
you
think
would try to set up a test that could use either pattern, the map or the way I do things, and then just kind of stress it out.
yeah, I actually don't know how to match on. I don't know how matching on maps works. So for Um, boy, that is so slow. Yeah, I don't know how to match on maps. I have to figure that out. So that's the whole map. If I send a map, and if I'm totally making up this syntax, I don't know if it's, I have to play with it to get it right. Sorry. The tutorial does have a thing on maps. We'd have to go through it. We could, I mean, I don't mind continuing, but if people are kind of bored watching this, I'm happy to.
I can show another technique that
Yeah.
I saw. I think
Sometime I'll have to play with that. See how matching on this contract, you know, matching here compares with like map. And not so much for performance, maybe that's tough to even measure, but just how it compares. Anyway, that's enough for now. One thing I was going to show, well, so I was working on this is where I went through the there's a grammar file that's in GitHub. It's I believe it's this one, and this is what the parser is built off of. And so I thought, okay, well, I'm going to take every production, every piece of that, and try to create an example. So like here's a collection, which is made up of, the way you read this is a collection list or a collection, I don't know which of these two are like the main name, but anyway, a collection has, oh, this is the type, and specifically a list is a type of collection. So it starts with a bracket, followed by a proc, followed by a proc remainder. The proc inside here is in brackets, which means it's optional. And this is not optional, and then followed by a closing bracket. So this thing right here, a proc remainder can be empty. So anyway, what I was trying to do is build an example of like basically one of everything was kind of the idea. So this should be valid RHOlang, where it's an empty list. This is a list with just one item, a list with 3, so on and so forth. So this is, I started this where I tried to create a one of everything example.
Does it
like,
work?
Let's try it. They did work.
Maybe you can help me. I have another technique for Gary, that using a list as the name of a contract.
It's I did run these before, though not in. Oh, sorry, I'm not plugged in, but anyway, so I do have those in a repo. I can put them out somewhere, and
Awesome.
it would be fun to
Can
build.
you put that in the chat?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the RHOlang on CoLab.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do that in just a second. Anyway, I'll stop sharing here.
Okay. So I don't know if you can see this. I don't know if there's any way to make this bigger. I don't think there is.
I can see it.
Bigger. But this is a technique that I think Josh and Jan were showing the other day in the video, where they actually made the name of the contract a list. And David, you remember that?
Right.
We went over the example, and So what I'm trying to do here is, in other words, when the contract is called that matches the list, show me that this, it gets called with the name and the return. And it writes to the return channel this and that plus the name that was passed to it. So then I'm trying to call that. So I make a new standard out in show me that this, right to name Jim and the standard out. Now there is, I'm getting some error here, syntax error, I'm not sure why, but this is very close to the way that they were writing the contracts. So that here we can use a public name, show me.
You need a par after or before new. You need a vertical bar in between the two pieces. Before new, you need a, yep, there you go. Yeah, easy to do.
Okay, let's try running again. And I don't know why it takes so long. It used to be quick. Name variable standard out used in process context. Used in process context. Oh, you need a at? You need
yeah, I think a star is what you want.
It's so funny. I've been writing some comments on the cheat sheet with Joshi, some issues. I say, when do you need a star or an @ sign? And it's funny how to some of us in the community, what's a name in a process is completely clear. And I think others of us, me definitely included, just experiment. If it's not a star, try an @ sign.
Okay, do you see this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it.
You see this? So we can do we could do the other here.
The thing about this is I can mess with anybody's program by just deploying the exact same thing and messing with it.
That's true.
But that's just temporary.
But
I don't know. Is it temporary?
And what this allows is for us to have multiple answers to the same question, so to speak.
Randomly chosen.
Right. Which, you know, is not the worst thing for Gary's application.
Okay.
When somebody can define a response to something, if somebody already defined one, well, it'll randomly choose either the first person's or the second person's. And I think, you know, we could integrate that with Robot and it would be somewhat useful. If Robot was working now, we could do it, show how we do it.
Can you explain in English what now you have gained by putting those three strings in that channel name like that, in the contract name like that? Can you explain it in words?
Well, I think what it's trying to mimic is a method name, and then its parameters. So like the method is called show me, and that's the first item in the list. Then it has two parameters, this and that. And so it looks more like a, well, actually it doesn't have two parameters. Well, yeah, it's like, I think it's like a method name is the idea.
Yeah.
Multi-component method name.
Right, exactly.
The parameters are name and return, but.
Yeah. So the idea.
Yeah, okay, I see your point now, and yes, I like that.
You make this the channel, and you make this the keyword, right? And in essence, you can have hundreds of show me methods. And you can compose them. You know the channel name and you know the keyword name. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. But I get the idea. We're trying to figure out ways to make this thing multiplex functionality.
Right. So either way it would work. Oops. I blew it. What'd I do? Oh, well. Oh.
Yeah, and thanks, Glenn. That helped when you explained that. I was having a little bit difficult time understanding what he was trying to point out, but I think I see it now. Guys, this was great. I need to run.
All right. I guess we'll call it a night. It's thank everyone for coming. Next time, hopefully you get some more questions from some of the other people here.
Everybody try to bring something you want to get looked at or critiqued or help with. That's fun.
And,
Yeah, I've started coding now, so I hope, is this once a week usually? Is that the schedule?
yeah, that's the regular RHOlang session is Tuesdays, but very often we don't have a topic for a plan for the work studies. Thursdays at this time we usually work on running nodes, validators,
Okay.
stuff like that. But sometimes nobody shows up who wants to do that, and we do something else.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, good. We'll see you again.
Thanks a lot.
Have a good afternoon.
Thursday at 2 p.m. We don't have a topic planned, so we could certainly suggest run that as a topic for the Tuesday 2 p.m. as well to do some more RHOlang.
Okay. Sounds good. See you.
Yeah, that's right after Joshua's, right? Oh, well,
Yeah.
after, but
Okay, right. Yeah, I'm not sure I can make Thursday, but I can do this time next week.
All right, great. Thank you so much for coming. It's great
Yeah.
to be here.
Good.
And,
Good to see you.
Thank you for sharing.
All right. Yeah. Okay, take care. We'll see you.
See you
Thank
guys.
you, Glenn.